Welcome to the world's first Straight Talk Solarcast. This is your go-to podcast for answers about solar. Brought to you by Solar Harmonics in Northern California, who invite their customers to own their energy by purchasing a solar panel system for their home, business, or farm. Each episode, we discuss questions facing people making the decision to go solar. The solutions to your questions are given to you straight by one of the leading experts in the solar industry, Jamie Duran, president of Solar Harmonics. Feel free to search our library for answers to questions that you're facing when considering solar. And now, here's Adam Duran, our host with the questions, and Jamie Duran, our solar expert with Straight Talk Solarcast.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Adam.
How's everything in the land of solar this week?
Well, it's a bit of a fire drill, and a lot, we're used to doing 30 to 40 proposals a day. That's gone up to about 150 because people are panicked and really want to go solar. Not so excited about paying for it, but because interest rates are still insane and all of the things that go along with that. And the solar finance companies are dropping out quickly. And so, we don't recommend any going with any of those guys, but it's interesting times as usual, as always in solar. Never a dull moment.
And that's because of the BBBB.
Yep.
I don't even know. The big beautiful bill. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So what I would talk about today is something that is kind of a convergence. And a lot of people who are going solar now are really overbuilding their systems because they don't want to be, if they put in a system, say in 2018, and now their true up bill is say $3,000 and they want to add on to it now using the non-export program that we've already talked about. And so a lot of times they're overbuilding those systems and they're ending up with a positive on their true up bill. And positive meaning that they've overproduced. And in PG&E territory, let's just say, you're really excited because you're seeing on your PG&E bill $500 that you have accumulated over the year. And you're, all right, we got $500 coming. Well, PG&E discounts that back to the wholesale rate of 2.9 cents. So the $500 turns into about $55.
What?
Yep, and then that gets credited to the natural gas bill. So it's not a fantastic way of that using that overproduction is just let PG&E have it. So when people have questions, what do I do with my overproduction? It's not everybody, because a lot of people just, I'll just run the AC more. Okay, great. Or I will get an electric car. Perfect. Or I'm looking at an electric water heater. Excellent. One thing that I'd like to point out is, we've talked about this as well as Bitcoin mining. And Bitcoin mining, this time last year, Bitcoin was $60,000 per coin. And I don't want to get all into it, but let's just say you have 100 kilowatt hours of excess solar production. If you were to use a Bitcoin miner to essentially get rewarded for having trading essentially your solar overproduction for Bitcoin, free power for a Bitcoin miner makes it very profitable. And it was really profitable at 60,000. Well, today it's about 118,000, and it's been as high as 121,000. So now essentially the profitability has more than doubled, or close to doubled. And so, and at the same time, Bitcoin miners, when I was looking at them maybe 3 years ago, they were easily double the cost, and if not more. And so the most recent ones are in the $500 to $700 range. Do have to install a 220 outlet, which a lot of people already have because they have an electric vehicle. And you can run these Bitcoin miners off of the 220, and the profits, even based at, I was kind of just running my overproduction, and I could generate about $4,000 a year in the overproduction.
Wow.
Compared to getting, because of course I overbuilt my system. I was planning all these other things. Anyway, it's instead of just getting nothing essentially back from PG&E, I could be getting about, where is it here? Anyway, it's about, well, it says, yeah, $2,400, but the Bitcoin, so double that because now Bitcoin has doubled in price. So about $4,400 in Bitcoin that I could either keep and see if it goes up even higher, or I could sell immediately. And so a lot of people are actually selling it immediately. And, they're making, 600, whatever it is per day. Let's say it's $10 to $20 a day. Nothing wrong with that. And so, and people, well, how do you get started? And I'm going to say just how I did, which is I'm using ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Yeah,
I was going to say, but
I
I
just
didn't
put
want
in, I have this much solar production. What do you recommend for a Bitcoin miner? And it pointed it. It has a whole range of recommendations and things I could do to minimize costs and everything. But I need it simple, so I said, "How about you make it a lot more simple?" And so it did. And basically, it's step one, installing a new outlet in the garage. So probably have to have an electrician do that. Step two, make sure you order the power supply for that. And then step three, get the Bitcoin miner. Now these things are loud. I will say that
Yes.
don't put it inside if you can avoid it. They need to be inside. They're not made for the elements, but they are pretty loud. So if you put them in the garage, just make sure everyone in the home knows that it's going to be loud in there, but it's it sounds like more like an air conditioner or a fan that's going on a computer at high speed. And so it's pretty exciting. So the one that I was looking at will mine 0.0403 Bitcoin a year. So quick calculation, Adam. Yep. With today's Bitcoin price, about $4,755.
Wow. And PG&E would have given you what, $55 for that?
I think it was about $600 and then credited to the natural gas bill, which, nothing wrong with that. It's just $4,700 compared to the excess power that we're producing is significant. And so a lot of people who have excess power, rather than just giving it back to PG&E, why not investigate this? And I've always said, if you had enough solar power and you had enough Bitcoin miners, that could really be the end of working, right? So if, let's just say that 0.04 Bitcoin, so not 4% of a Bitcoin at 118,000 is worth 4,700. If you had enough solar power and you could say get 20 of these, so 20 times 4,800 is what, Adam?
Wow.
It's 95,000 a year, and it is taxable. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it is possible where, not to get too crazy, but you could put those mining profits into a Roth IRA and then, max out the Roth IRA for sure. And then the money that earns becomes tax-free. So it could be, pretty interesting retirement plan and this is only really for people who have excess solar. Right. If you don't have excess solar, you might want to consider it because buying the power from PG&E is pretty expensive. But there's, even if you have 1,000 kilowatt hours extra a year or a month, that's pretty good. Where do you get started? Ask ChatGPT. At what point does it make sense to mine Bitcoin if you have this much power? But start with your electricity bills and see how much excess you have. You can also do it so you can only, mining in the months where you do have excess and all kinds of stuff. Of course, so there's logarithms and everything, so you're not buying power from PG&E to fund the Bitcoin miner, but overall, it's kind of fun, kind of makes sense.
And I mean, you just have this. Is it only at 220 volts, or can we just do a 110?
Yeah, there's all different kinds. I have 3 of the ones that do the 110 already, but I have all this excess solar. And when I got my true-up bill, I was like, wow, that's a lot. That's too much to just give back to PG&E, who is then reselling it to my next-door neighbor who does not have enough solar and, selling it to them at 60 cents a kilowatt hour. So me getting 2 or 3 cents compared to 60 cents, it's not a great trade for me. It's a great trade for them. But yeah, this would be very interesting. and I'll report back after I buy it. So probably about 13 months, because boy, am I busy right now. But it's on my list of things to do. But yeah, it's kind of interesting, because this could really kick up the Bitcoin mining revenue. And then, boy, like I said, if you had enough solar power and enough Bitcoin miners, that would, and let's say the price of Bitcoin goes to 500,000. That was going to look. I think I did that exercise anyway. So
good luck, Jamie.
Yep,
For our listeners out there, the first step is seeing, they have excess solar production, right?
Yep.
And then how much, and then go to ChatGPT with that information, and then start from there. And don't message Jamie for help.
Well, yeah, this is because I'll just direct you back to ChatGPT, because there's tons of information on YouTube. It just takes forever to go through it. Tons of information on the internet. Takes time to go through it. I recommend just starting with something small, and then I've been doing the Bitcoin mining now for about 4 or 5 years, and adding one miner probably every year and a half or so, and the price of Bitcoin just keeps going up and up. And so, like I said, today is at 118,000. We'll check back July 20 something, 2026, and see if it's at 236,000, which would not out of the realm of possibility, especially with all the craziness happening in our economy, and the 3-point-something trillion that's going to have to be printed to cover the new deficit of the OBBB. And then, we'll have to see how things go. But that's one, do some research on Bitcoin. This is not financial advice. This is just an option of what you can do with your excess solar power. So pretty fun.
Wow. Okay, Jamie, that was a very comprehensive episode, a great introduction into why it makes sense to do this, because, boy, getting a wholesale rate back, that's kind of depressing.
It is, especially, it's, but now there's something to do with it, but again, get a electric car, get the, electric water heater, anything you can do electric that works, makes sense and makes your life better. Great. But I talk to just people I run into all the time, 46 years old, and, I have zero saved for retirement. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Mama.
Oh no, not that far away. 20 years goes by in a blink of an eye. So and the Bitcoin mining happens whether you're healthy or sick. It happens when you're sleeping. It happens, it's just when the sun is shining, you're making money. So that's a great feeling to have. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you for taking a few more minutes out of your week to learn about solar. There's always something happening in this space. Jamie proves it week after week after week. If you have a question for him for an upcoming episode that's not crypto mining related, but more solar related, then please send us a message through Facebook. Our Facebook page is Straight Talk Solarcast. You can also go to solarharmonics.com, click on the podcast link at the top of the page to be taken to a library of our past episodes. If you have a friend considering going solar, this would be an excellent podcast to refer them to, because it will save them thousands upon thousands of dollars over the life of their system. And this episode alone would actually make them money. So refer this episode and rate it wherever you got it. 5 stars would be awesome. Until next time, everyone. See you.
That's all for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of Straight Talk Solarcast with solar expert Jamie Duran. Join us each week for more answers to your solar questions. Speaking of questions, got some? Email us at solarcast@solarharmonics.com and we'll be sure to give you an answer in an upcoming episode. This episode of Straight Talk Solarcast is brought to you by Solar Harmonics, the leading solar energy developer in Northern California, who invite you to own your energy. Visit them on the web at www.solarharmonics.com.